Hey friends, sometimes the smallest thought can take you on these grand adventures. For me, it all started with a scone. Yep, a scone made me do it. One random craving for fry bread, and suddenly my brain was off to the races. I thought of Swiss days. It's a artistic market in my area. The sound of the Swiss bells, the mountains, and the friend that I usually stay at a hotel with the night before the fair. And just because of the scone, I picked up the phone, I made plans, and I reconnected. All because of a scone. So now here's what's fascinating. That little detour wasn't random at all. It was my brain doing what brains are built to do. Psychologists called it spreading activation. Now, picture your memories like this giant spider web. Every word, every sound, every smell, every taste is just a little node on that web. So touch one of those nodes like scone, and the vibrations, they spread out. So suddenly, Swiss days, bells, mountains, friend, they all lit up. And one memory knocks into the next, just like falling dominoes, right? So this isn't just theory. These were psychologists Alan Collins and Elizabeth Loftus, and they studied back in 1975. And they showed that if people would see the word doctor, then they'd recognize the word nurse faster than if it was some unrelated word like castle. So it's that spreading activation, those related things that are like a web in our mind. So, why does this matter? So, what? Why does it matter to know this? Because your life is constantly being nudged by those hidden domino chains that can reconnect you to the people you love or don't love. They can set off habits, good or bad. They can hijack your mood or they can help you lift it. So, here's the kicker. Once you know how spreading activation works, you can start designing your cues on purpose. Instead of being yanked around by these random triggers, you can use them to your advantage. So think about this. The smell of popcorn, instantly you're at the movies, even if you're in your kitchen, right? Or one bar of a prom song. Suddenly you're 17 again in that dress or that tuxedo. Drive by your old high school and here comes the flood of your friends, your teachers, the Friday night football games. That's your brain's domino chain reaction happening. So, and it doesn't stop with nostalgia. No, companies know this. That's why stores pump in signature scents. They use jingles, certain kinds of music, because then things will like stick like glue. They're like hijacking your brain's spread. But here's something most people don't realize. Every time you follow one of your cues, you're just not replaying those old memories, but you're creating new ones. That's called encoding. Encoding. So for me, this going didn't just remind me of my old friend. By picking up the phone and making plans with her, I created a brand new memory of reconnecting at Swiss days. So now, whenever I think of scones, my brain does has both the old memory and now the new memory that are now linked together. That's how memory networks grow richer over time. So that is why paying attention to your cues really matters. They're like invitations. And you can choose to chase them off, and some you probably should, or you can choose to step into them. Now, here's a fun trick I call a memory ping. You could actually plant cues in someone else's brain to strengthen your relationship. Now, it's as simple as sending a 7-word text to them that references a shared memory, something like, do you remember when we used to do nacho night at high school? Now, boom, that 7-word text sent to that friend has now activated this memory chain in their brain, and it now has linked you to it. Powerful, right? It's pinned you into their web. Okay, I love science. Nerd out for a minute. Why are smells and tastes so especially powerful? Well, because it's unlike sight and sound that passes through the brain's relay station, which is kind of a check and balance. Smell and taste goes right to the hippocampus, right here, the memory keeper, and the amygdala, the emotional center. That's why when you have one whiff of cookies or a bite of scones, it feels like you're in a time machine. Psychologist Hurst and Schooler in 2002 proved it. Smell evokes more emotional, vivid memories than sights or sound. Now that's super powerful because we know that with the five senses, when you experience things, it encodes into your brain. But for some reason, that smell is incredibly powerful because emotion is one of the strongest ways that we create new neural bundles. Another sciencey study was done in 1975, and they showed that divers, we're talking ocean divers, remembered lists of words better when they were tested in the same place that they learned them. So if they were underwater when they learned the words, they could recall them faster than if they were on dry land. Interesting. So if you are learning something at school and you are doodling something and you're sitting in a particular place, if when you go to review that or take the test, if you stay in the same place and make a doodle, you can actually recall more. Is that not crazy cool? I mean, think of the ways that we can utilize our brain more effectively, right? There's so many brain hacks that we can utilize for our brain. So how does this change your life? Well, here are 4 ways you can start using this. Let's call it a scone effect right away. Next time a person pops into your head, treat that as a cue. Send that text. Make that call. That's your brain telling you that that bond matters. Now, a second way you can use it is in study. If you pair your study sessions with the same playlist, the same seat, like we were talking about, even the same gum flavor, as crazy as that sounds, those cues become retrieval hooks at test time. Ha ha. That's pretty cool. Now, what about habits? Want to start something new? Anchor it with something that you're already doing. So, for example, if you're brushing your teeth that you have to do anyway, then pair that with 10 squats. Or if you're creating a to-do list, write down 3 things you're grateful for. So you're stacking a new domino on top of something that you're already doing. Now, a mood reset is the 4th way that you can utilize this. And we talked about how powerful smell is. Keep a scent that you love nearby, or a go-to playlist, or a picture that you love. So when stress hits, you can bring out that kit, that photo, that smell, even that taste for that mood change and that mood lift. So let's try this. I want you to play along with me. Grab a piece of paper if you can. If not, just do this in your mind. Okay, write down the first food that comes into your mind. Now, don't overthink this, but without stopping, I want you to think of 5 things that are related to this. So go. Okay, I want you to look at your list. That's your brain's domino chain. Notice how fast it unravels. That's spreading activation. Now, I don't know if you noticed, if you're watching me, I looked up because I could retrieve from the past better if I was looking up. Now, what was mine? Oh, I know I must sound like a foodie, but it was this big cinnamon roll that was huge. It used to be called Becky Sue's Buns, and it was in a mall where I had my office. And almost every day I'd go down there, or when I was in that office, I'd go down there for this cinnamon roll of different kinds, orange one or strawberry. But it reminded me of the mall, which reminded me of the company I worked for, supervisor for a clothing company, which reminded me of some of my favorite managers, which reminded me of the amazing things that happened, which reminded me of the travel, which reminded me of the different towns that I'd stay in. Oh my gosh. There is that activation reaction that happens just from one clue. And that was from a piece of food. We have a choice. We can chase that chain or we can let it pass. But chasing it might lead to reactivation, to joy, or even a brand new memory. So here's my challenge. What's your scone? That little thing that brings up that whole chain of amazing memories. And if you want to see this magic on paper, I made for you something fun. It's a free downloadable brain domino puzzle. It's a little booklet. It's free. It's downloadable down in the show notes. Just fill it in, compare it with a friend, and watch how wildly different your domino chains are. Try this with your family. It'd be fun to see what their association is with different things. Because once you understand spreading activation, you stop being pulled around by random cues and you start using them for your advantage. You could reconnect, refocus, and rewrite the chains you want in your life. It is so powerful to understand how your brain works. And now that you know this, you're going to be more aware. Look for those cues that are popping up this week. Better yet, download your free printable and try it yourself. All it takes is one little cue. I'm Rozanne Marsh, and this was Score for the Scone. Tally ho, my friends, until next week.